Okay, we're going to develop the things we're doing with lines and have a bit more fun, do some things that are a bit more interesting with it. So you remember in a previous tutorial I was using blends to do things between shapes and also rotating certain shapes and copying. We can do the same sorts of things with lines to achieve some interesting effects that might be useful for your project. So I'm just going to use a circle shape to begin with down here and just show you just a simple blend, and then you can explore it further. So I've just drawn the circle, and I can use the scissor tool here in the palette to cut anywhere on that path to make something that's more unique. So here I've just put a cut in on the path in two places, and you'll notice that down below here the circle is highlighted, part of the circle is highlighted in blue. I can then just press the back arrow to delete that segment, leaves me with a sort of semicircle. And then I can go ahead and somewhere else up here just draw a kind of line or some kind of curved thing and make it a different colour. So bear in mind I can go in and just tweak that shape just so I'm happy with it. Now up until now I've been selecting different colours from the colour picker here. That's one way of doing it. If you're happy with that, that's fine. There are quicker ways of selecting colour, which I'll just show you. So if you look in the tool palette, you'll notice at the top there's a palette for colour. This is just a colour guide or a mixer. Be aware when you click it, it selects for the colour that's on the top there. So I've just selected for a fill, which isn't that good, so I can just use that diagonal arrow to say I don't want a fill. I'm just going to select my stroke, and I can go ahead and select something from here that's one of these mixed colours. There are other ways of doing it too. There's a preset sort of colour guide. Basically these work, they're sort of tonally arranged, so you'll find that these are quite good actually for complementary colours or colours that go together. You'll notice that there are tints and shades which fit quite well, and there are other options to use. So in the drop down menu you'll see you've got cool options, warm options, and more vivid or muted ones. Okay, and there are other colour books that you can choose from here, so there are loads in there. And you can edit and apply colours and save your own. And then there's your basic swatch library, so these are sort of default colours and gradients that you can use. And you can also decide on your own swatches, so these two sets here are swatches that I've saved, swatch libraries that I save for projects that I can come back to. And in the swatch library you'll notice that there's a whole host of other swatches down here. If you go into that little top arrow, down arrow, you'll see that there's lots of different colour books. Just so that you know, there are kind of earth tones and sort of preset books down here, but if you go into other library you can go back to all the others that are set inside the program. So there's loads of options for colour, but I'm just going to use something from the palette. Got my two shapes as we were doing before. I can then click them both, go into the object menu, there's a blend option, sub menu, go in there, say that I want specified steps, click 8, and then objects, blend and make, and I get something like this. I can then tweak this if I want to, so I can say okay, a bit of a gap there to appear, etc, etc, and I can also tweak this shape using the direct selection. And I've also got a blend tool here which I can double click as a shortcut to the blend options and kind of increase the steps if I want to. Click OK and away you go. So it's quite gratifying because out of two things you can make something that has a blend not only in shape but in colour. So here you can see I've got something that goes from a gradient from pink to blue, and it gets even more interesting if you select solid or smooth colour, and it will do a blend like so. So you can get something that sort of is quite, I suppose, media orientated, or something that resembles light out of this tool quickly, but remember that you can also go in and edit various parts. So after you've made the blend, you can still change how it looks. So I've just gone in here, gone under the direct selection. You'll see there's a group selection option, and I can move the distances between the blends, so I can carry on editing it until I'm happy with it. So that's quite nice, and you can do blends with lots of things, so that's always something to explore. Okay, so I'm just going to resize that, make it a bit smaller, move on to rotate. So we were looking at the rotate tool with shapes, so I can do a line as well. Now, quite important if you want to do a rotate with a line, once you've drawn the line, go into the selection tool and just click it so that the whole object is selected, i.e. you don't see the handles, you're not direct selecting it. Then go to your rotate tool, click somewhere to pivot from, and quite quickly you can pivot. If you remember what we did before, you can press Alt, make a copy, and then Command D, and away you go. Okay, and you can keep going. Okay, and you can do that with any shape, and once you've got that, you can select it all, resize it, and change the stroke on it so that it looks much more refined, like so, and then select all of that and group it, and again use your Alt tool. And this time if I use Alt and drag and then hold down Shift at the same time, I can get something that's exactly symmetrical. So if you hold Shift, it will draw it horizontally perfectly, and then I can repeat that, and I can select all of those, again hold down Alt and Shift, and away you go. I can make a pattern.